You are now listening to Grace Tube, the channel that will help you spiritually.
Hello mga kaibigan. Pag-usapan natin ngayon kung paano na-discover or nakita itong mga Dead Sea Scrolls. Ito ho ay isang importanteng archaeological find na makakatulong sa mga eksperto at sa atin, ng mga interesado regarding sa Bible, sa history nito. At dito natin makikita ang kung gaano nakatagal itong Bible na ito, itong mga scriptures, okay? At malaking tulong itong na-discover na Dead Sea Scrolls. So, ano ho itong Dead Sea Scrolls? So, mga scrolls ito hindi lang sa isang subject or isang klase ng libro. Marami ito, no? The scrolls are made up of some 40,000 inscribed fragments. At ang mga iba nito is 500 books. Ang mga nakalakip dito, no, sa mga scrolls na ito. At many extra biblical books and fragments were discovered that shed light on the religious community of Qumran. So, ang nakatago dito ay mga books na ginagamit nila sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na buhay. Sadducite documents, ito, a rule of the community, manual of discipline. So, help us to understand the purpose and daily Qumran life. So, in the various caves are some very helpful commentaries of the scriptures. So, may mga commentaries din ng Bible at mga scriptures ng Bible na nakikita dito. Okay, so yan ho sa picture ang Qumran Cave kung saan nakita itong mga Dead Sea Scrolls. So, paano ito nakita? So, si Ralph Earl, okay, sa kanyang book How We Got Our Bible, published sa Baker Book House, siyang magbibigay sa atin ng answer paano ito na nakita, itong mga scrolls na to. So the story of this discovery is one of the most fascinating tales of modern times. So ito ay nakita in February or March of 1947. Isang Bedouin shepherd boy, pangalan niya si Muhammad, was searching for a lost goat. Ito ang dahilan ng nawala na kambing. He tossed a stone into a hole in a cliff on the west side of the Dead Sea, about 8 miles south of Jericho. And to his surprise, he heard the sound of chattering pottery. So pagtapon niya ng bato, may nag-crack o may nabasag na mga pots, pottery. So investigating, he discovered an amazing sight. On the floor of the cave were several large jars containing leather scrolls. Okay. It could be parchments, mga leather, yung mga skin, na doon sinulat. So, medyo mas, kasi ito, mas matagal masira kaysa sa mga papyrus, leather scrolls. So, wrapped in linen cloth. Because the jars were carefully sealed, the scrolls had been preserved in excellent condition for nearly 1,900 years. So, they were evidently placed there in AD 68. So, matagal na, AD 68. Ayan, 5 of the scrolls found in Dead Sea Cave 1, as it is now called, were bought by the Archbishop of the Syrian Orthodox Monastery at Jerusalem. So, binili ito, itong mga scrolls na to, ng Syrian Orthodox Monastery. Okay. Meanwhile, 3 other scrolls were purchased by Professor Sokinik of the Hebrew University there. So, yun. Now, how were the Dead Sea Scrolls found? Patuloy natin. So, when the scrolls were first discovered, no publicity was given to them. So, in November of 1947, 2 days after Professor Sokinik purchased 3 scrolls and 2 jars from the cave, he wrote in his diary, "It may be that this is one of the greatest finds ever made in Palestine. a find we never so much as hoped for these significant words were not published at the time. Unfortunately, in February of 1948, the archbishop who could not read Hebrew found the American School of Oriental Research in Jerusalem and told about the scrolls. By good providence, the acting director of the school at the moment was a young scholar named John Trevor. So, kaya nagko-quote ito si John Trevor regarding mga biblical finds, okay? Who was also an excellent amateur photographer. With arduous, dedicated labor, he photographed each column of the great Isaiah scroll. So, libro ho ng Isaiah ang isa sa mga kalakip, included na scrolls na nakita, which is 24 feet long and 10 inches high. He developed the plates himself. So, picture niya ito and then ginawang mga plates, and sent a few prints by airmail to Dr. W.F. Albright of Johns Hopkins University, who was widely recognized as the Dean of the American Biblical Archaeologists. So, mga scientists ito, mga archaeologists. By return, airmail, Albright wrote, "My heartiest congratulations on the greatest manuscript discovery of modern times. What an absolutely incredible find. And there can happily not be the slightest doubt in the world about the genuineness of the manuscripts." He dated it about 100 BC. So nakatulong ito na totoo talaga itong mga scriptures na naisulat. So ito ay nakatulong, patunay through archaeology the genuineness, of the Bible. So accurate transmission of the scriptures confirmed by archaeology and the Dead Sea Scrolls. So ang transmission ba yung from the original kopya hanggang umabot, So yung may mga kasi niyan, yung Massoretic texts, okay, na sinusulat ng mga scribes at itong mga ng mga manuscripts. So pag ipagtandi-tandi mo yan, ma-compare mo kung mayroon bang mga alterations, may mga, so meaning maano mo na na-preserve talaga itong basahin natin. So the oldest manuscripts we had were from 900 AD. Okay, how could we be sure of its accurate transmission since the time of Christ in 32 AD? So, ito sabi niya, thanks to archaeology and the Dead Sea Scrolls, we now know. So, nalaman na natin. Nalaman na ng mga experts, ng mga archaeologists. One of the scrolls found was a complete manuscript of the Hebrew text of Isaiah. It is dated by paleographers around 125 BC. So this manuscript is more than 1,000 years older than any manuscripts we previously possessed. So, yung mga na-possess na daw nila, na mga nasa kamay na ng mga experts na mga manuscripts, ito ho, ang nakuha na ito is 1,000 years older. So the other biblical manuscripts are dated between 200 BC to AD 68 AD. So the impact of this discovery is in the exactness of the Isaiah scroll, 125 BC, with the Massoretic text of Isaiah, 916 AD, na na-discovered. So, compare mo Massoretic text and itong sa Dead Sea Scrolls, so, makita, the exactness, sabi dito, So, 1,000 years later. So, meaning, from 125 BC to 916 AD, okay, at the same pa rin ang contents. So yun. So accurate transmission nga ng scriptures. So this demonstrates the unusual accuracy of the copyists of the scripture over 1,000-year period. Okay, can you imagine that from the Dead Sea Scrolls to the Massoretic text, magkapareha eh. So meaning talaga stricto sila sa pag-copy. O ba hindi mo talaga yung na may mga ito ano pang sinabi dito ng mga experts. So si F. Bruce says that an incomplete scroll of Isaiah found along with other in the first Qumran cave and conveniently distinguished as Isaiah B agrees even more closely with the Massoretic text. Glyson Archer states that the Isaiah copies of the Qumran community proved to be word for word identical with our standard Hebrew Bible in more than 95% of the text. So, ano ang problema ng 5%? So, the 5% of variation consisted chiefly of obvious slips of the pen and variations in spelling. So, may mga mag-slide, pagod na siguro yung nagasulat. So, may mga, hindi man ito pencil na pwede mong i-erase at ulitin. So, meron talagang mangyayari na ganyan. Ng mga, kasi, manual ang pagkopya eh. Okay, Miller Burroughs, The Dead Sea Scrolls, page 304, cited by Geisler and Nix, concludes that it is a matter of wonder that through something like 1,000 years the text underwent so little alteration. As I said in my first article, sabi ni Miller Burroughs, on the scroll, herein lies its chief importance, supporting the fidelity of the Massoretic tradition. Galing, no? So, that's how God preserved His Word. And thank you for watching, and I hope that this helps you yung bang mas strengthen pa yung faith natin dito sa Bible na hinahawakan natin, na talagang na-preserve ng Diyos as promised yung kanyang mga salita. God bless, and see you again next time.